See what you did, Stephanie? Do you see the problems you have brought upon this team with your antics this season, Stephanie White? This is what you have done. Now we have to contemplate. We have to think about the what ifs. What ifs that shouldn't even exist because of the antics and the foolishness you pulled this.
What's good, Baskley fam? We need to talk about something that's been brewing under the surface all season. While everyone's been celebrating Indiana's success and debating Kelsey Mitchell's contract, there's a nuclear situation developing that could absolutely shatter this team's future. And it all comes down to one player who's been disrespected, benched, and thrown aside like yesterday's trash, despite being the heart and soul of this franchise. I'm talking about Lexi Hull, and what you're about to hear is going to make you question everything you thought you knew about Stephanie White's leadership. Because here's what nobody's talking about: Lexi Hull is a free agent. She's got options, and after what she's been through this season, she might just walk away from the team she helped build from nothing.
So, 6 Lexi Hulls is a free agent this offseason. The Indiana Fever will protect her in the expansion draft, whatever. And Lexi Hull's gonna have suitors. With the way she performed down the stretch and in the playoffs, the way she was guarding, the way she had a couple big nights shooting the basketball, Lexi Hull is gonna have suitors. You better believe the Portland Fire will be interested, the Seattle Storm will be interested, and they will be willing to probably pay her top dollar.
Let that sink in for a second. 6 Lexi Hulls. That's what she becomes when you actually let her play. When injuries forced Stephanie White's hand and she had no choice but to put Lexi on the floor, what happened? She exploded. She was everywhere, locking down the best offensive players, diving for loose balls, hitting clutch threes, doing all the dirty work that championship teams are built on. But here's the twisted part. Even after proving herself over and over again, White kept finding ways to bench her. And now, Portland Fire is circling. Seattle Storm is ready to throw money at her. Teams across the league are watching and thinking, if Indiana doesn't value her, we absolutely will. You might be thinking this is just typical free agency drama, but wait until you hear exactly what Stephanie White did to this woman, because this isn't about basketball decisions or roster management. This is about broken promises, ego, and a coach who completely disregarded everything Lexi Hull accomplished before she even arrived.
Because of the bonehead Stephanie White. Let's be clear. Lexi Hull got straight up played and disrespected by this new Fever regime. Kelly Crosskoff, Amber Cox, Stephanie White straight up disrespected her. They acted as if Lexi Hull was not a part of the core 4 who helped turn this team around. It wasn't just CCAB and Kelsey. No, Lexi Hull was a huge part of that. A huge part of that before Stephanie White got here. Stephanie White came to the Indiana Fever and straight up disregarded everything Lexi Hull did the year before.
Straight up disrespected. That's not an exaggeration. That's exactly what happened. Listen closely to what's being laid out here, because this is the core of the entire problem. Before Stephanie White showed up in Indiana, there was a core 4 that turned this franchise around. Caitlin Clark? Absolutely. Kelsey Mitchell? Obviously. Elia Boston? Of course. But the 4th? That was Lexi Hull. She was integral to everything they built. She earned Caitlin's trust on the floor. She became the defensive anchor. She sacrificed her stats and her ego for the team's success. Then Stephanie White arrives with her grand plan. And what's the first thing she does? She brings in Damiris Dantas. Excuse me, Dewana Bonner as she's being called here. Gives her a max contract, hands her a starting spot, and tosses Lexi Hull to the bench like she never existed. 59 and a half years old in her 38th WNBA season is an exaggeration, but the point is devastating. White chose an aging veteran over the young player who'd already proven herself in Indiana's system. Now here's where it gets psychologically brutal for Lexi. Imagine being told through actions, not words, that you're not valued, that everything you sacrificed, every dive for a loose ball, every defensive assignment against the league's best players, none of it mattered. You're being replaced by someone who hasn't earned anything with this team yet.
All of a sudden, Dewana Bonner quits on the team. She's no-showing it. She's no-showing work while receiving payments. Stephanie White is getting on the camera, lying to us, acting like everything is all good, lying to us when you knew everything wasn't all good. You knew that. Only for an article to come out the same day DeWanna Bonner refused to return to the team. You think Lexi Hull don't remember that? You threw me to the back burner for her and she quit. She didn't even have the decency to contact us, her teammates, and let us know she won't be coming back.
You think Lexi Hull doesn't remember that? Of course she remembers. Athletes never forget disrespect. They file it away, and it becomes fuel meus, either to prove you wrong or to walk away and prove themselves elsewhere. And what happened next makes this situation exponentially worse. Bonner quit. She straight up abandoned the team. No communication with teammates. No professional courtesy. Just gone. And before she disappeared, Stephanie White was standing in front of cameras lying about it, telling everyone everything was fine, everything was good. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Bonner had already checked out mentally. She was no-showing while collecting paychecks. And the same day White's trying to sell this fantasy that everything's under control, an article drops exposing the truth. Bonner refused to return to the team. Put yourself in Lexi's shoes for just a moment. The player they replaced you with? She quit on your team. The coach who benched you, she lied to everyone about what was really happening. And now, suddenly, they need you again. Not because they value you, not because they finally recognize your worth, but because they have no other choice. That's not respect, that's desperation.
Okay, DeWanna Bonner skips town. Lexi Hull steps in, plays great basketball. Sophie Cunningham was dealing with an injury. Sophie Cunningham gets healthy. What do? What did Stephanie White do, y'all? Threw Lexi Hull to the back burner again and benched her. For no apparent reason. And I'm going to show you because I remember the cluster of games where I'm looking, I'm like, damn, Lexi not getting no minutes.
So Lexi steps in and does exactly what everyone who actually watched this team knew she would do. Nails. She plays phenomenal basketball. She's making winning plays. The defense elevates. Caitlin's got someone she trusts on the floor with her. The team's clicking. Everything's working. And then Sophie Cunningham gets healthy. Now Sophie's a solid player. No disrespect to her. But watch what Stephanie White does next. She benches Lexi again for no apparent reason. After Lexi just bailed the team out of the Bonner disaster, after she proved her value once again, White throws her right back to the bench. This is where you start to see a pattern of behavior that reveals something deeper about White's coaching philosophy. It's not about who's playing the best basketball. It's not about who's earned their spot. It's about who fits White's predetermined vision, regardless of reality. And Lexi Hull, she apparently doesn't fit that vision, no matter how many times she proves she should.
Minutes. This cluster of games right here. Lexi Hull, she played 15 minutes, 18 minutes, 14 minutes, 19 minutes, 21 minutes, 19 minutes, 19. Bro, in July, she wasn't even cracking 20 minutes a game. Lexi Hull, 6 Lexi Hulls could not get 20 minutes in July.
Look at these numbers. This is the smoking gun right here. In July, the heart of the season when you're supposed to be building chemistry and momentum for the playoffs, Lexi Hull couldn't even crack 20 minutes. 15 minutes, one game. 18 the next. 14, 19. She's getting rotation player scraps when she should be getting starter minutes. And here's what makes this statistically insane. During this exact stretch, Indiana's defense was struggling. They needed exactly what Lexi provides. But White kept her glued to the bench. Why? Because she was experimenting with Ari McDonald in the starting lineup. She wanted to try 3 guards with Caitlin. She was trying to make Sophie Cunningham work as a starter. Every experiment except the one that had already proven successful, giving Lexi consistent minutes and letting her do what she does best. Y'all know how we do things on Baskly. We look at the actual data, not just the narratives, and the data screams that Lexi Hull was systematically marginalized despite performing every single time she got legitimate opportunities.
Burner, if you think Lexi Hull and her agent are not thinking about this, you have another thing coming. And if you think you are going to be able to get Lexi Hull back for dirt cheap, You have lost your mentals. You've lost it. Lexi Hull is going to be a commodity this offseason. You're going to have to pay top dollar in the same.
This is the reality check Indiana needs to hear. If you think Lexi Hull and her agent aren't having serious conversations right now about her market value and her options, you're delusional. Because here's what's about to happen in free agency. Teams are going to throw money at her. Real money. Starter money. Not bench scraps. Every single franchise in the WNBA is looking for exactly what Lexi provides. A player who doesn't need the ball in her hands. Who doesn't need to be the star or have plays drawn up for her. Who's willing to guard the toughest assignment every night. Who makes the hustle plays that don't show up in the box score. Who fits seamlessly into any system because she makes everyone around her better. That player is worth their weight in gold in this league. Portland Fire is building from scratch. They need culture setters like Lexi. Seattle Storm is retooling around young talent. They need veterans who play the right way like Lexi. Even contending teams that are capped out will find money for a player like her because she's the missing piece that turns good teams into championship teams.
Just like you went and promised DeWanna Bonner things, just like you clearly went and promised Natasha Howard things, which is why she could stink it up all year and you never benched her. You need to go ahead and let Lexi Hull know, hey, we're going to pay you good money and you are going to be a starter. You are a part of the core four. You will be a starter. You had no problem promising DeWanna Bonner stuff. You had no problem promising Natasha Howard stuff. She's walking in talking about winning MVPs and all types of nonsense. You need to have that same energy for Lexi Hull because she earned her keep here with the Indiana Fever.
Here's the comparison that should terrify Indiana. They're treating Kelsey Mitchell like she's the only free agent that matters this offseason. Every press conference, every interview, it's we need to re-sign Kelsey. She's our priority. She's the key to everything. And yes, Kelsey's important, but what about Lexi? Where's that same energy? Where's that same public commitment? You had no problem making promises to Bronder, gave her a max contract and a starting spot before she played a single game for you. You had no problem making promises to Natasha Howard. She was talking about winning MVPs and getting every opportunity even when she was underperforming. But Lexi Hull, who's been there, who's proven herself, who's earned Caitlin Clark's trust and the fans' respect. Silence. This is classic organizational negligence. You're so focused on the shiny names that you're about to lose the glue that holds everything together. And the cruel irony, Bonner quit on you. Howard never lived up to the hype. But Lexi, she's been everything you could ask for and more. Yet she's the one being taken for granted.
I ain't heard you say it. Don't sleep on Lexi and let somebody else take your, don't let nobody else take your groceries. Don't let somebody else come in and steal your groceries. I'm telling you, because they will. Stephanie White has put the Indiana Fever in danger of losing Lexi Hull due to her bonehead moves and her negligence. Throwing that woman to the back burner when she was damn near the heart and soul. It's everywhere. She out there playing with two black eyes, all types of stuff. And that's the woman you kept throwing to the back burner? It's disgusting.
Playing with two black eyes. That detail right there tells you everything about who Lexi Hull is as a competitor. She's not out there for the glory or the stats or the recognition. She's out there because she's a warrior. She sacrifices her body. She does whatever it takes to win. Heart and soul doesn't even begin to cover it. And that's the woman Stephanie White kept throwing to the back burner. That's the player she kept disrespecting with her rotations and her decisions. It's not just bad coaching, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of what makes championship teams work. You don't bench your most selfless player. You don't marginalize the person who does all the things that winning requires, but don't show up on highlight reels. Think about the message this sends to the entire roster. If Lexi Hull, who does everything right, who never complains, who sacrifices constantly, can get treated like this, what does that tell everyone else? It tells them that loyalty doesn't matter, that doing the dirty work doesn't matter, that being a great teammate doesn't matter. All that matters is fitting into the coach's predetermined plan, regardless of merit.
Lexi Hull can consider leaving the Indiana Fever if she does not get the proper promises from Stephanie White the same way that DeWanna Bonner and Natasha Howard got them. And I wouldn't
This is the breaking point. This is the moment where Lexi Hull has every right to look at other options. If Seattle Storm calls and says, "We'll give you a max contract, you'll be a guaranteed starter, and we'll build our defense around you," why would she say no? What has Indiana done to earn her loyalty after this season? Stephanie White created this situation through her own negligence. She prioritized veterans who didn't pan out over the young player who'd already proven herself. She made promises to the wrong people while taking the right person for granted. And now the Fever are in danger of losing a core piece because their coach couldn't see what was right in front of her face. Here's what needs to happen if Indiana wants to keep Lexi Hull. Stephanie White needs to walk into that meeting and make the same promises she made to Bonner and Howard. Guaranteed starting spot, significant contract, public commitment that she's valued as a core piece of this team's future. Not just lip service, actual contractual guarantees that she won't be jerked around anymore. Because if they go into that negotiation thinking they can get Lexi back on a discount, thinking she'll just accept whatever they offer because she's been there, they're about to watch her walk out the door and sign with a team that actually appreciates what she brings.
But if she said, "Hey, Seattle Storm, they're going to give me a max and I'm going to be a guaranteed starter. If you guys aren't offering me the same and valuing me that way, then I'm going to leave," I wouldn't blame her. Get down in the comments and let me know what you think about this. This is Keep the Vision.
Baskley fam, this is the real crisis facing Indiana this offseason. Not just whether Kelsey stays or goes, whether Lexi Hull decides she's had enough of being disrespected and takes her talents somewhere that values her from day one. What do you think happens next?